Alright guys, so this is editing Chalayne. I'm just gonna go ahead and let y'all know now. This is a vlog for a ride. If you are riding your horse, if you're going to a barrel race, this is 35 minutes long of just me talking information kind of stuff about Pro Rodeo. So, you do not have to watch this. You can just turn it on and listen to it. It's one of those kind of vlogs. I hope that you guys enjoy.
There were two questions. They kind of go hand in hand. One was, what are the do's and don'ts of entering pro rodeos and stuff? That could be a whole segment in itself. Like, that could be its own video, to be honest. There's just so much that goes into that. There's all kinds of different things. But what I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all is basically my entry into Lake Charles at the beginning of February. So here's a little screen recording. As you can see, I've got like my information, my preferences. Now, since COVID, they do it on your WPRA portal is what they call it. And so you don't have to call into Procom or anything like that to go ahead and enter a race, but you can go ahead and go onto your WPRA portal, which you make an account. The WPRA does not make that for you. So you go ahead, make a sign on, log in. You're able to access all kinds of stuff that way. You can see what kind of rodeos are coming up, when entries will open, when entries will close, and they only show mainly the rodeos that are going to be opening that day, closing that day, like rodeos that already have their entries open in that time frame. So, and it's usually basically like if you were to go look at it today, it would show you like the rodeos that have entries open today, and that they will show them closing tomorrow at a certain time, mountain time. So all that to be said is that you will basically see when you go on WPRA, like you can look at the schedule and stuff, but it shows like your entries open and close mountain time. Your rodeos are in the time zone that they are in. So if there's a rodeo that shows that it's going to be starting at 7:30, so like in my time zone, we're in the central time zone, it'll be 7:30 central. It won't be 7:30 mountain time. The entry office and whatnot is like that because the WPRA office is actually in Colorado, I believe it is, that they are on mountain time. So to try to clear that up a little bit. But you can go ahead and enter on the WPRA portal. You don't have to call in a Procom. However, you do have to notify Procom, like you have to call in a Procom and let them know if you are trading. So trade and entries are two totally separate things. You enter, and if you don't like what you got, like say for Lake Charles, for example, I had got slack for Wednesday at 4 p.m. I was trying to get a weekend performance for that rodeo, and I was really hoping to get that. So I was able to get the girls' numbers that were all running that weekend, which if you are a member, you can see everybody's phone numbers, so that way y'all can text amongst each other to see like if y'all can trade your preferences or whatever. I say your preferences. Trade slack for performance, first performance for a third performance, going back and forth, however that is. Now what I've been told, because I had went to go enter Lafayette, I believe it was, and I was talking to one of the girls that I'm trying to basically, I'm asking her for help. So I guess she would be considered a mentor for me. So I've been asking her all kinds of questions. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that Ashley Rogers, she is more than willing to help, and she has been a dream to deal with. And just, I say to deal with, but to be able to learn from, and for her to basically tell me like, different kind of scenarios, experiences. She's asked me if I'm going to certain rodeos, if I'm going out of state, like all kinds of different things. And so she has been amazing. But she had explained to me, like, during Lafayette, because I was planning on getting a slack. Like, I wasn't planning on getting a performance. But she told me, she said, if I were you, being that you're a permit holder and everything, go ahead and put in your slack. If you're already planning to get a slack, don't try to put in a performance because you're more than likely not going to get it. That is true. Just out of the two that I've seen, like, just with different permit holders and everything, they more than likely, I don't know if I know any of the permit holders that have actually gotten a performance over a card holder. So with that being said, you are more than likely going to get slack. Lake Charles. I was able to trade with one of the card holders for Saturday slack, the 2 p.m. one for Lake Charles. And so I just had to call Procom, let them know that I was initiating a trade, and then she would call and confirm it. So that is basically the trade situation, is that you can text and see who's all willing to trade with you. Y'all agree. You have to call Procom. I don't know the time off my head, but I think it's like 9. I think it may be 8 Mountain Time. I don't know. It's something like 8 or 9 in the morning till about like 3 or 5 in the evening, like business hours, basically. And I don't believe on weekends either. So sometime during the week. And then you also have a trade deadline that will be listed in the ground rules for that rodeo, which you can see that on WPRA. Like, as soon as they had released the callbacks and stuff, I believe it was at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I had received an email, which that was the first email that I've actually received for a callback. But you can also go on your WPRA portal and you can see that before they even send you the email. So, with that being said, I was able to see what my callback was. I went instantly, like probably 5 minutes after callbacks, I went just to see what I had gotten. I had got slack, which I had anticipated. And so I had went down the list and was texting everybody for Saturday at 2 p.m., Saturday at 7:30, Friday night at 7:30, like performances, to see if any of them would be willing to trade. There was a couple of girls that they said they would have to see. Then I had ended up finding one that said that she could. We had agreed to swap and then, or trade. Trying to be official here, trade. And so the next day, because they have the trade deadline, I believe it is like 3 or 5 days, maybe 7 days. You might have like about a week. You have to call Procom. And then, so what I had did is I had called Procom, initiated the trade, and then I had texted the girl and let her know. I was like, hey, I went ahead and initiated the trade. And he said that he's waiting for you to call to confirm it. So, and it was, I believe it was also her first time doing a trade. She's like, oh wait, do I need to call them? I was like, I think so. He said that he was expecting your call. So, I feel like it's a little bit, like, nobody, like, not very many people trade. So it's like a couple of people that I've asked, they're just like, I don't know. So, that would also probably be another thing with like do's and don'ts, is you can ask around basically to any of the girls that are in the WPRA. They are more than willing to help. So another question that I got was, how do I plan my rodeo schedule? It is interesting. It is stressful. It is, yeah. I feel like trying to plan out a rodeo schedule is basically like a second job. To break this down to you, my anxiety is a bit much. I have literally obsessed over this for probably like 2 years now. And when I say that I obsessed over it, like I would follow along with the WPRA schedule, acting like I was going to enter. I never did. I didn't bug anybody about that. But I would follow along like, okay, so let's say it's February 23rd. I would look at to see what was going on that weekend. And I would like come up with different scenarios in my mind of like, okay, there's this rodeo, and then there's this rodeo, and then there's another rodeo, but it's a lot closer to this rodeo. It's like, what would I do if I were in this situation? Would I go over here? Would I not? Would I go over here because there's two in the same weekend? Like, there's all kinds of different things like that. And then you also have to put in perspective of like, how close is everything? Planning your rodeo schedule, I would say do not plan week by week. Don't do it. Like, if you're planning on trying to run in like a week, like next weekend or whatever, no. Your entry has already been closed. It's not going to happen. Entries open and close about 2 to 3 weeks in advance. I will let you know that now. So let's say if I was gonna enter a rodeo, the rodeo that I would be planning on entering probably wouldn't be until March 14th. Like, today is February 23rd. I probably would not be able to enter anything. I could do the weekend before, but I probably wouldn't be able to enter in a rodeo until like the rodeo date was March 14th, because entries would be open right now for that rodeo. A lot of your entries will open 2 weeks before your rodeo starts. So I would go ahead and say like plan a month to 2 months in advance. I think is about the time frame that WPRA has their stuff up. Now they can add rodeos to the schedule whenever they want. Lafayette, I believe, was added to WPRA's deal this year. I believe it was like 3 weeks, two or 3 weeks before entries had opened. So it was kind of like right there. They already have rodeos posted for the summer run, which is in June and July now. So I'm pretty sure that the summer run is going to be twice as long as it is now. But there's basically a rodeo every single weekend in June and July as of right now. There could be so many more by the time that rolls closer. All right, so how I plan my rodeo schedule, I'm on Foxy right now. She has not placed has not ran a 1D time, has not placed a 1D, has not placed in 2D. She hasn't placed, I don't think, even in the 3D. So I'm just like, I'm a permit holder. I'm not trying to go for the NFR this year. It's not gonna happen. Foxy's still young. Technically, she's 6 right now as of January 1st. But her physical birthday isn't until April. So I was like, I'm gonna have a young horse. This is my first year. I'm not trying to win to go to the NFR or anything. What I had planned on for my first year was that have a radius of rodeos that you're going to go to. With mine, it's about a 3 to 5 hour radius. So what that means is like, I'll go if it's like 3 hours and 5 minutes or whatever. That's okay. I would like to stay under 3 hours. If she gets going pretty well, like if she ends up catching on towards the end of the season or whatever, then I might go up to 5 hours. But for me right now, I'm not hitting the road. We're not doing that. We're just getting experience. We're just taking it as it is and just seeing where we're going. So my main thing was I wanted to stay in a certain hour radius. I wanted to hit up all the in-state rodeos. Now, with that being said, with Lafayette and West Monroe ended up being on the same weekend. That I felt was too much for Foxy for her very first pro rodeo kind of experience. I wasn't going to drive to the south of the state and then drive to the north of the state within the same day or 2 days difference. So, like I said, I'm not hitting the road. I'm not beating the pavement or anything trying to make it to the NFR. It's not that big of a deal to me right now. We're basically going and just getting the experience right now just to see how Foxy handles the rodeo road. I want to experience this because I've never done anything on quite of a large scale as this before. So with that being said, I want to try to hit all the in-state rodeos. I also wanted to be able to go to some out-of-state rodeos, which is why the radius is bigger than what I'm used to, because I wanted to be able to travel to see different rodeos, different states. I have not ran in any rodeos out of the state of Louisiana, so yes, those are my two main factors. I said if Foxy decides that she wants to start going faster and we start winning rodeos, then I will be more than happy to do so. But we're not there yet. Another do or don't is like try to figure out what is feasible for you to do. Base it off of money wise, horse wise, truck wise. Like, if we're being honest, like, my truck made over 200,000 miles. I want to say at the beginning of this year, or just at the end of last year. So, and I have a 2-horse bumper pull. I don't have a huge living quarters. I don't plan on being out on the road for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. If I am, then I'm buddying up with somebody that has a living quarters. And I don't know what I'm doing with that just yet. So, I was planning on doing a summer run, but planning on also buying a house. So those plans have changed. So I am currently not scheduling any pro rodeos for my summer run. You have people that leave for months at a time to do a summer run, to do Cowboy Christmas. And basically that is your end of May, your June, your July, beginning of August. WPRA seasons September 30th. So, with that being said, while everybody's beating the pavement, going for the last couple months before the season ends to try to qualify for the NFR, I am not doing so. So, because I was looking at some of them today, I say some of them, I looked at all these scheduled rodeos for June and July, and 90% of them are up north. And what I mean by that is like North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Washington, Wisconsin. There's one that's in New Jersey, which I think it's like, I don't know if it's a series or what, but it's good. It's like, it goes on for basically spring till fall. And it's just one rodeo in the same spot in New Jersey. I'm not exactly sure about that. I would definitely see a couple different scenarios, like routes that I would go if I were to do that, but also I don't have a living quarters. Obviously, I would buddy up with somebody and to try to figure out, like, I wouldn't have to plan my schedule, but also plan with another person's schedule. So, but I figured the best bet for me is that I've got pro rodeos scheduled up until May. I'm not planning on doing any for June and July. I might do some WPRA co-approved races that are going to be local to me because there are a lot more bigger barrel races in the summertime around here, and they are WPRA co-approved. So I think I'm going to focus on those in the summertime and not do pro rodeos. But that's another thing when entering is that they'll show on the rodeo itself, it'll have like eligibility. And they'll do all cards / permits or all cards / circuit permits, which means you have to be in that circuit. Circuit is a whole nother ordeal because here's all your circuits in the WPRA. As you can see, Louisiana is in the southeastern circuit. Texas is its own circuit. I believe Montana is its own circuit. It's a whole deal there. The one that I'm planning on going to, if they even have it towards the end of the season, would be permits only. So that means I can run, card holders cannot. I would have a better chance of filling my permit with that race, I feel like. But that's another thing with your pro rodeo entries is to check the eligibility, because I did come across a couple of rodeos. Not that I was considering going to them, but there was a couple of different rodeos that said cards only. And I believe there was one that I seen that actually still has the circuit permits only. So I have very, very few pro rodeos that I'm actually planning on going to. Mainly because like there's a couple that I could go to, but the way that they fall is that I would basically be going out of state or going just like right at 3 hours every single weekend. And I'm like, I've got other stuff planned. My March is basically booked. My April, I have one available weekend, I think. So it's like, I would like a break. And plus, it's like, I can't go because I have this on that weekend. So it's like, that's not gonna work. I have a couple other things where there's a couple rodeos where it's like, oh, I have something going on that weekend, but I could run on Thursday or I could run on Friday. So there's a couple different things there. All right, so another question that I got here was, does your parents or your boyfriend pay for your entry fees? I hate to break this to y'all, but absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is me spending my hard-earned money to do this stuff by myself. So when I say that, I mean, I'm buying my own gas. I spend money on my own gas. I have a credit card that I just use for gas. Right now, luckily, it's getting under $500 a month.
$500 a month.
If that explains anything to you, I'm spending just under $500 a month on gas alone. Not all of this is for rodeos. So for me to be able to rodeo and also go to work and I'm still getting under that, that's pretty good, I feel like. I have a credit card that I just use for gas. I budget out my entry fees to go into the WPRA portal, because also with the WPRA portal is that you are able to put money in your account to be applied to your entry fees or your fines. Thank God I have not been fined. I don't think I've done anything to be fined. But it will show you outstanding fines on your WPRA portal. If you have to pay a fine for whatever reason, I believe how the rule states is that you cannot enter a rodeo until the fine is paid. Do not do a non-notified turnout for a perf. It is a couple hundred. I will let you know that now. You have until 3 hours before your perf starts, not before you run, before the perf starts. So if it says that the perf starts at 7:30, it doesn't mean that you have until 9 o'clock or 3 hours before 9 o'clock, because barrels usually runs about an hour and a half in. Does not mean that you have 3 hours before you run. It means 3 hours before 7:30. Back to, do my parents / boyfriend pay for my entry fees or anything? No. I pay for my gas. I put my money that I budget off to the side for entry fees. I go ahead and put that in my WPRA portal so that it's there. It automatically draws out the Tuesday after the whole rodeo is done. Like the two that I've ran at, it was $86 for your entry fee. I went ahead and put $90 in there. So I have a couple extra dollars in there right now. Your vet. Vet costs, I think I spent $190 on Foxy to get her Coggins up to date, all of her shots, and health papers. I don't know how every state is. In the state of Louisiana, though, if you run in another Louisiana Pro Rodeo, you do not need health papers because you are in the state. You go out of the state, you better have some health papers. I believe Florida is like strictly has to have health papers, I believe, if you're in the state or not. I'm not 100% sure. Do not quote me on that. But if I remember correctly, because there's been a lot of people talking about how Florida is super strict on their health paper rule and everything. So another thing, if you are going to go ahead and get your permit with the WPRA, it is a $325 fee, I believe. That is by check. If you pay by card, I believe there's a percentage added on, so it will be more than $325. But me, because I'm just like, I don't have the couple of dollars here and there just to throw at it, I went ahead and wrote a check for the $325 out flat right there. If you fill the permit, you have to win. You cannot pay it off. You have to win $1,000 on your permit in a Pro Rodeo deal. If you win $1,000, you have two options. You can buy your card, and I believe it's cheaper if you're buying your card from a permit year. I think it's like 200 and something. Originally, I think it's like $395. I'm not sure. Plus, the fees could have changed. I think the last time that I've seen the paperwork for buying your card on your permit year it could have changed. But I believe the last time I seen it was like $225. So you can buy your card and go straight into your rookie year. Or you can buy a second permit for the same price, I believe, and carry it on out. If I'm understanding it correctly, let's say that me and Foxy, we go and fill our permit in May or June. You have, let's say by June. I'm not saying I'm gonna fill my permit by June. I'm just giving y'all a scenario here. If it were to happen, you have July, you have August, you have September. That is 3 months. Sorry guys, I'm double jointed if y'all seen that. I'm sorry if it's a little bit on you. But you have 3 months left of the season of your rookie year if you buy your card, is how I'm understanding it. So how I feel like it would benefit me is that I would just pay for a second permit to finish out the year, or just not run. Like, I think, like, if I don't enter anymore, then I'm good. The next year starts in October 1st. You will buy your card and you will start your rookie year. So there's a difference between permit and rookie. Permit, you're on a permit. Rookie is your first year on a card. So the only reason that I see buying a card would be beneficial would be if you won the $1,000 on the permit probably before January, I want to say. Because then once you have your card, you can run in Rodeo Houston. You can qualify for that kind of stuff because it's pretty early on in the year. If you've won enough money to carry over money onto your rookie card, it could bump you up in the rookie standings just high enough where you can get invited to big limited rodeos. If I understand the rules correctly. I don't see very much of a benefit. Like, I feel like the latest that you would have to buy your card would probably be about March to maybe get into some limited rodeos. But also, you could probably go ahead and buy your card for the summer run. You can make enough money there, but you would have to go to a lot of rodeos. And you'd probably need to have a backup horse or two. So, because I'm just sitting here looking at the June and July schedule as of right now. There is, on the bigger weekends, there's like probably 8 or 9 rodeos in the same weekend. And about half of those are within a couple hours from me. Like, you can make those, but you would have to run in like a slack after a performance, run in a performance the next day, run in a morning slack the next day, go to a performance later on that night somewhere else. Like, it can be doable, but you gotta have some backup there. You gotta have probably like 3 horse trailers running, an airplane ready to fly you out. Luckily, I still live with my parents, so I don't have to pay for a rent or board or any of that. But I'm also paying bills on top of that. So that's why I'm like, I'm not hitting the road hard. I do have the money to go rodeo, but I'm doing it for experience. I'm not trying to win money to stay out there or anything. Like, we're not going hard. Not this year. So, yeah. We're not even going to entertain this. Hang on just a second. Okay, so here's a little bit more better phrased, I guess you would say. Have you been here at all during this whole process? I feel like this is somebody that doesn't quite understand it. Foxy's 5, technically still. She's going to be 6, or she is considered 6 as of right now. 6 is very young for a horse. It's very young for a rodeo horse, and it's very young for a horse that has very limited experience running in general. Also, to top that off, I'm planning on getting Seze starting to haul with us about this summer. Whenever we're having like local races and stuff, Seze's more than likely going to be on the horse trailer. She's going to be 4 in June. My plan is to get these girls somewhat going, and so that way Seze can be a backup to her mama. Yes, you heard that correctly. Foxy is 6 and Seze is 4. Mother and daughter. So why am I running if my horse isn't good? She's seasoning. We're not winning anything right now. She is winning lunch money. I will say that. She's gotten very lucky with a couple different checks. I say very lucky. She's fallen pretty well with a couple of different checks that we've actually won a good bit. But we're just out here, like I said, for the experience. So this is the joys of seasoning a young one, and I want a pro rodeo horse. So we're pro rodeoing, and I'm trying to season a horse, and I'm bringing up another young horse. And this is just the perks of having young horses on the rodeo road. Just to correct you there. I feel like this person's new if they haven't been following along with the whole ordeal of things. Is that Foxy, I think I've just got Foxy up to her 20th competitive run ever. I want to say that either Lake Charles or maybe the DeRitter run was like Foxy's 20th competitive run ever. I hope that I answered some questions. I'm sorry if I confused you even more about pro rodeos. Like I said, I am only on my permit. This is stuff that I have learned being obsessed with the WPRA for the past 2 years, and stuff that I have learned in my first 2 rodeos. I feel like I have a plethora of knowledge here, and some of the stuff is like, but I felt like I had like so much that I could have gone over, and this video is probably super long. I don't even know how long this is gonna be. I hope that I answered a lot of your questions with like just starting out basically. I hope that y'all got a lot of information off of this. I hope that maybe I inspired you to be like, oh, I can go ahead and do this. This could be something that I could do right now. Because, I mean, we are only in February. We've got, I think, a little bit over 6 months left. Yeah, a little bit over 6 months left in the year. Maybe you want to go ahead and get on your permit, try out some of the rodeos, enter up in those. Or maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to join in 2024. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this vlog. If you have any more questions about this, go ahead and comment them down below. I'll answer you in the comments. If anything, we can do another Q&A vlog. I feel like to go ahead and answer these questions that y'all had would be like a good little like filler vlog, but also like have so much information in it for those of you that do plan on like going pro and everything. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this vlog. Keep the questions coming. My inbox in like my inbox on Instagram. You can message me on Facebook at Smokin' H Ranch. Or if you're following, like if we're friends on my personal, you can message me on my personal. That's fine. Also, you can leave a comment down below, questions of that. I will be more than happy to answer the best that I can. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this vlog, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye, guys.